Former Chief Ombudsman supports calls for investigations to continue. Foreign Affairs Minister says payroll issue cause for delay. And Australia-PNG Business Forum gets underway.
This is National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for Monday's news. Former Chief Ombudsman and Police Commissioner Ila Geno says investigations into allegations against the Prime Minister should continue without interference. Speaking to MTV today, Mr. Geno, who is also an individual member of the Community Coalition Against Corruption, supports the call by the coalition for other constitutional offices such as the Ombudsman Commission to assure the public that they are addressing the serious allegations that have been made against public office holders.
Through his time in public office, Mr. Geno has been Police Commissioner, Chair of the Public Service Commission and the Chief Ombudsman. He says the integrity of an individual and the integrity of the Constitution must be upheld at all costs.
Rule of law must be upheld without fear or favor. Everyone in this country is subject to the Constitution. We're very fortunate that we're in a constitutional democracy. And in my view, democracy will not work on its own. We must have a very strong rule of law, which is the Constitution, to make it work. And then the challenge is that those officers who are at the helm, leading those institutions, they must work. Otherwise, we lost the plot.
Speaking about events surrounding the questioning of the Prime Minister into allegations of his involvement in the Paul Paraka matter, Mr. Geno said these investigations need to be allowed to be completed.
The allegation of criminal offences, and when the police officer authorized by the Constitution and those acts I mentioned, and on the reasonable suspicions to believe the offence has been committed, they have to act without any referral to anybody, no.
Former Chief Justice Sir Arnold Ahmed said in a separate interview today from Medang that the moral integrity of the Prime Minister's office needs to be protected.
All that he needs to do is to simply volunteer to go in and answer the questions that the fraud squad officers had requested him to do the interview on, and the warrant of arrest would be rendered unnecessary, and the calls to step aside all not required in any law at the present. It's a moral issue.
Mr. Geno said with the issue of vetting investigations by higher-ranking officials, he feels that is a cause for concern.
Any members of the outside of the force to be involved in the vetting process, that is unconstitutional, and also it is arguably may tantamount or impinge on the role of the judiciary.
He said it's time the Ombudsman Commission should state clearly if they are investigating into the serious allegations of the breach of the leadership code.
There are multiple alleged leadership breaches have been committed. The ball is in the court of the Ombudsman Commission. Whether they're going to do anything about it or not, that is their call. But as a former Chief Ombudsman, I can say that the observation, the multiple leadership breaches already been committed.
So far, the Prime Minister has maintained through media statements and in Parliament that unless evidence of his involvement is produced, he will not be going in for questioning.
I've always stated this, and I state this again very clearly. If there's one evidence that I received one financial benefit, I will resign tomorrow.
Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
Foreign Affairs and Immigration Minister Rimbing Pato has admitted that staff of PNG overseas missions have not been paid for the last 2 fortnights, but says the issue has now been resolved. Opposition leader Sam Basil raised this issue last Friday, claiming that it's the direct result of foreign reserves that are fast depleting. But Minister Pato says it's because of problems in the national payroll system, and they are working with Departments of Finance and Treasury to fix this issue.
As of the time of MTV story last Friday, PNG diplomats overseas had missed 2 fortnight pay periods. Building rentals in some PNG high commissions and embassies were also outstanding. The issue was brought to light by opposition leader Sam Basil last Friday.
Most of the foreign missions that represent Papua New Guinea through the embassies and high commissions, they haven't been paid for the last 2 fortnights. and this will be running into the third fortnight.
But Minister responsible, Rimbing Pato, said in a media statement yesterday that the issue is now fixed. MTV News had confirmed with one embassy that national staff had not been paid for 2 fortnights. They said money collected from visa fees from people traveling to PNG were used as operational funds. Minister Pato said certain components of the allocations to overseas missions, especially for payments of salaries of national staff, were incorrectly merged into the national payroll and wages for the local engaged staff overseas. He said the funds were not appropriated in the original 2016 national budget. Minister Pato said the issue has been addressed and PNG diplomats overseas can expect smooth operations again. Quinten Alomp, National MTV News.
Opposition leader Sam Basil again responded to Foreign Affairs Minister Rimbing Pato's assertion that the shortage of foreign mission funds is a payroll issue and is totally unbelievable and not the whole truth. Basil called on Minister Pato to admit that the economy is struggling. He made the statement in Lae today. The 32nd Australia and Papua New Guinea Business Forum and Trade Expo is officially underway in Cairns. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill and Australian Senator and Minister for International Development and the Pacific, Concita Fierravanti-Wells, addressed the delegates today. Michaelin Moyabosi has this report.
The theme of this year's forum is Today's Investment, Tomorrow's Returns, and is described to reflect an important stage reached in Papua New Guinea's social and economic development, and in the bilateral relationship between Australia and Papua New Guinea. The forum's first session began with keynote addresses from the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea, Peter O'Neill, and Australian Minister for International Development and the Pacific, Concita Fierravanti-Wells.
Your attendance here reflects a strong confidence in Papua New Guinea today and tomorrow.
Meanwhile, current business issues and headlines back in PNG include PNG's fiscal and budget challenges and foreign currency shortage, which the Prime Minister addressed.
But I can assure you that in the coming weeks, you will see an increasingly improved foreign currency availability, and we thank the commercial banks who are working closely, particularly Westpac, ANZ and BSP and Kina, who are working closely with Central Bank in addressing this issue with government.
On the topic of the PESA Plus trade agreement, Prime Minister reiterated that the issue PNG has is that the agreement is designed more for smaller Pacific Islands nations.
Papua New Guinea is more interested in a bilateral agreement with Australia that will serve our mutual trade interests well.
Meanwhile, Australian Senator and Minister for International Development and the Pacific, Concita Fierravanti-Wells, emphasised that Australia and Papua New Guinea's economies are most diverse and are the largest in this region.
Both Australia and Papua New Guinea need to diversify our economies, and we must do so now to ensure returns for the future.
And importantly, the Minister highlighted investment in women. Tapping into this resilient resource, she says, will open up opportunities.
Australia places great importance on ensuring that our development assistance, designed in partnership with the PNG government, supports improving women's leadership, increases economic opportunities for women and focuses on the safety of women.
The 32nd Australia-Papua New Guinea Business Forum will continue tomorrow. Michaelin Moyabasi, National MTV News, Cairns.
National MTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to National MTV News. The shortage of police accommodation is a contributing factor to the lack of manpower in rural police commands. Despite over 300 police officers passing out of Bumana Police Training College every year, less than 20 are deployed to each province because of limited accommodation. Out of the 15 police officers who will be deployed to the Gulf Province, only 3 will be stationed at Kerama Town Police Station, with the remaining 12 to be based at Malalawa Station.
The Kerama Town Police Station has over 20 regular police officers. It is an important station in Gulf, and officers here attend to complaints from both Kerama and Kikori districts.
The station is under the supervision of Inspector Michael Paikea, a senior police officer with over 30 years of experience in the police force.
Okay, so that 12 man, not house long here. Barracks belong single man. So maybe losing more one company house or Quebec been working road before. Block conversions like all the barracks. So restart long Malalawa. So they're based in Malalawa. Triple Merin Blakaranka, and block converting one married house. You come into barracks. Now you got triple rooms, so we block put him triple police Mary going salon and a launch house.
But the unwillingness of the locals to free up their land to build a police barracks is another contributing factor to the lack of policeman power.
But our last place was one. We said last place to come forward now. Give me black ground, walking barracks, and now. But BBC Silas Wayagura and Miat is the best for me because I'm 5 months, BBC law province.
Inspector Paikea says while the inclusion of the 3 female probationary constable is seen as an increase to the police force in Kerama town, he needs more male officers to police the command.
Land the policeman on come, look out him. Project that is going on here, like the pipeline running, oil pipeline, gas pipeline, and then with the project Lopurari, and people something, and then very soon we'll have 1 or 2 projects probably here in Kerama.
The 13 male probationary constables who will be based in Malalawa Station will increase the number of regular police from 5 to 17. Thakla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Senior lawyer Mike Karu has been charged for contempt of court by the Lay District Court. Last Friday, Magistrate Jeremiah Singomat charged Karu of Manu and Associates for willfully disrupting court proceedings and cited for contempt of court for negligence in his duties under Section 277 of the District Court Act. Karu represented Tobias Omba, who was charged for attempted murder in December last year. Omba appeared in court in March this year and was allowed 500 kina court bail with conditions. However, he breached those conditions. Magistrate Singomat said Karu, as Omba's lawyer, didn't inform his client of the bail conditions. On April 29th, Magistrate Singomat revoked Omba's bail and ordered him to be remanded at Buimo Jail awaiting his next court appearance on the 13th of this month. But Karu overlooked Magistrate Singomat's order and obtained another court bail from a junior magistrate. Magistrate Singomat said Karu's actions amounted to a total disruption of court processes. As a result, he was charged for contempt of court. The court adjourned the case to the 27th of this month to allow enough time for Karu to find a lawyer to represent him. Milford Haven Road is one of the busiest roads not only in Ley but in PNG. While other roads were upgraded, Milford Haven has missed out on rehabilitation. President of Ley Chamber of Commerce, Alan McLeay, said the road was scheduled for maintenance in 2015 and then again this year, but due to financial constraints, money has not been allocated to upgrading this road.
This is the Milford Haven Road. The 2.1-kilometer road starts from the main port to the mobile service station. This road section missed out on the upgrading of Ley roads that had been carried out by the national government. Ley Chamber of Commerce President Alan McLeay said Milford Haven Road was used as a bypass during the previous road construction and is left forgotten.
Milford Haven Road was on the program to be redone in 2015 and again this year, but I think it's been caught up in the financial problems at the moment.
Another section of the road from the main port to the mobile service station is part of the Highlands Highway. It has to be built to a different standard.
The designs haven't been done and the increasing the width to cater for a 4-lane highway hasn't been done yet.
For now, companies adjacent to the road are putting in funds to upgrade it. Ley Chamber of Commerce is assisting those companies pay for fuel. It is a temporary grading operation, but it's costing companies. McLeay is urging the government to get the road fixed as soon as possible for the proper operation of those businesses. Mata Lewis, National EMTV News, Ley.
People in nearby communities who access the Wawin Road in Morabes Huon Gulf District can now look forward to using a smooth road. Construction of a 5 million kina road link is set to begin with support from the Morobe Provincial Government and Huon Gulf District. The 10-kilometer road, which links one of the country's national high schools and an agricultural station, has remained unsealed for over 4 decades.
Morobe is embarking on more impact road projects for the province with limited funds it has. Morobe Governor Kelly Naru, when officiating the upgrade of a 10-kilometer road at Huon Gulf's Wampara LLG, says the road upgrade project is one of several projects that the provincial government is fixing. The Morobe government has yet many other road upgrading projects that remain incomplete and some yet to begin construction, pending the Provincial Supply and Tenders Board approval.
Another road that we are targeting to seal is the important Wagang Fisheries Road that will lead from Malahang into the village of Wagang. That will accommodate the fisheries wharf that will be built soon.
The budget for the year lies at close to 20 million kina for road sealing in the province. However, many sections of the whole city itself still require upgrade. Funding needed for road upgrade projects is inadequate at the provincial level.
It's going to cost us a fair bit, but we believe that permanent long-term solutions like this is good for the province in the long run, rather than embarking on a maintenance program or ad hoc renovation and maintenance program in roads like this. That will only require a cycle of funding to come back again next year and following year and so on. We need to put in something that can last.
Apart from that, Wawin Road are other incomplete projects like the West Taraka, Wagang and Arab Nawai roads. Now the Morobe provincial government aims to invest more on road upgrade projects rather than minor renovation or maintenance programs. And with the few successful projects so far, the province can only hope for more funds to complete the rest. Colin Barilai, National EMTV News, Lae.
A business training program recently held in Indonesia has seen 9 Papua New Guinean women graduate with new skills ready to drive economic and social change in their communities. The 5-week business training program was specifically designed for women from developing countries. At the welcome reception for the participants, many said the Global Women in Management program was an eye-opener.
A welcome back treatment was organized for the 9 participants who returned from the Global Women in Management program run by Plan International USA. The workshop brought together women from diverse cultures and countries to share, examine and adapt best practices worldwide for expanding women's economic opportunities.
Even though women came from different countries, but when we shared all our the problems that have been faced by women were similar, and we could connect as a woman on different levels.
The workshop also looked at strengthening competencies in project and financial management, as well as in other areas.
Coming out from the Global Women in Management, I can say I've come out of the box and I can be able to see far, to know that we women, there's so much inside of us, there's so much that we are able to do, but what we need is the support.
The Global Women in Management program is supported by operator of the PNG LNG project, ExxonMobil PNG, and a parent company, ExxonMobil's Women's Economic Opportunity Initiative. ExxonMobil's Public and Government Affairs Manager, Daniel Worrell, said the company's support goes beyond just benefiting an individual. It adds value to the organizations that the participants lead in. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
And now a look at the finance news. The kina opened unchanged at $0.3160 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3085 $0.4219 Australian dollars, $0.2697 euro and 33.24 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, cocoa closed lower, while gold, coffee and copper closed the day higher. Palm oil, crude oil and copper closed the day higher. And on the stock markets, the Dow Jones closed 185 points lower, the ASX closed 23 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed 19 points higher. You're watching National MTV News. Among stories after the break, the world's largest plane lands in Australia. Stay tuned. Welcome back to National MTV News. Schools in the National Capital District will take part in an environment awareness program focusing on the country. At the launch of the program today, Barnabas Wilmot from the Department of Environment and Conservation said the program is a lead-up to the World Environment Day on June the 5th.
The World Environment Education Program will see 19 schools in the National Capital District take part in various activities being conducted under the Conservation Environment Protection Authority. Grades 9 to 12 will hold an inter-school debate, grades 6 to 8 will take part in an essay writing competition, and grades 1 to 5 will have a drawing competition.
Theme is basically, global theme is on wildlife trade. Illegal wildlife trade, go wild. So the theme itself for Papua New Guinea is very important. As Papua New Guinea is mega diverse in both biodiversity and also cultural heritage, we are closely linked to all our wildlife. So the challenge for us is basically balancing out what we use and what can remain for the future generation to be able to do the same thing.
The program is being sponsored by Steamships and Puma Energy. Puma Energy will also be organizing a program at the refinery for the students. David Thompson from the National Agriculture Quarantine and Inspection Authority gave an insight of wildlife border protection.
The theme relates to illegal trafficking or trade in wildlife, and it's quite a significant problem for Papua New Guinea's unique wildlife being trafficked out of the country. A lot of people in this country, their resources are effectively being pillaged in that trade, and partly because the networks that traffic wildlife also traffic other things that are dangerous to this country.
World Environment Day is celebrated annually to raise global awareness on measures taken to protect nature. Marilyn Diaukatam, National MTV News.
The recent promotions of 3 Defence Force officers have marked the transformation of PNGDF into the future. That's according to Chief of Force Preparation, Colonel Siale Diro. He said this promotion is a result of their families' continuous support and contributions in enabling them to discharge their duties. Erica Rupma with this report.
Wives and family members, Acting Chief of Staff Colonel Jeremy Ramsden, PNGDF Chief of Force Preparation Colonel Siale Diro, DMS, and other officers were present to witness this ceremony. The order of ceremony was officiated by Director of Office Management Colonel Berry, reading the officers' files.
After successfully completing his training at OCS New Zealand, he was posted as a platoon commander instructor.
Major Ivan Timo promoted to Lieutenant Colonel and posted as Provost Marshal. Major Rafael Yapu promoted to Lieutenant Colonel and posted as Commanding Officer 2nd Battalion Pacific Islands Regiment to RPIR Moim Barracks, and Lieutenant Colonel Robin Gaius promoted to Lieutenant Commander and posted as Staff Officer Grade 2, Directorate of Office Management. Speaking on behalf of the officers, Lieutenant Colonel Ivan Timo said, "This is the indication that the Defence Council and senior officers of the PNGDF have trust in their ability and capability to perform."
We want to thank the Defence Council and the Commander for going through the process of having to promote us, or going through the decision to have us promoted.
Chief of Staff Jeremy Ramsden said, "The recent promotions are very important because it recognizes individuals' confidence, service and long hours of work."
Most importantly, and we should never forget, the role that our partners and wives play in supporting us as individuals, as service members, to fulfil our obligations and responsibilities.
It has a significant responsibility attached because whether Lieutenant Commander or Lieutenant Colonel, they all embody the organization. These leaders will lead the transformation of this organization into the future.
At Force Preparation Branch, we have great confidence in your ability
to discharge your duty in your new roles to the best of your ability.
Colonel Diro acknowledged the support and contributions from the efficient families, especially women and children. Eric Arupma, National EMTV News.
Turning overseas and to the Middle East, thousands of Yemenis took to the streets of Sana'a last Friday to denounce the recent deployment of a small number of U.S. forces in Yemen. Last week, the U.S. military said it had deployed the troops to offer intelligence support to the United Arab Emirates forces in their battle against Al-Qaeda's Yemeni branch.
Around 2,000 Yemeni and Emirati troops advanced into the seaport of Mukalla late last month, taking control of its port and airport, meeting little resistance in what had been a stronghold of Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. On Friday, the Houthis threatened to retaliate against the American troops on the ground.
يوجد لنا عدو واحد هو العدو الأمريكي الذي قام بإنزال بعض الجنود في العنج وفي حضرموت. نحن منتظرين لأوامر السيد. الآن نريد أن نواجه الأمريكي، نريد أن نواجه.
U.S. intelligence and military officials view AQAP as a threat to the United States. The group has plotted to down U.S. airliners and claimed responsibility for last year's attacks on the office of Charlie Hebdo magazine in Paris. Despite significant U.S. strikes, including one that killed AQAP's leader last year, U.S. counterterrorism efforts have been undermined by Yemen's civil war, in which the Iran-backed Houthis have been locked in a bloody battle against the U.S. and Saudi-backed government of President Abd Rabbu Mansour Hadi. Lorraine Gabina, EMTV World News.
Meanwhile, a suicide bomber killed at least 25 recruits inside a police compound in the southern Yemeni city of Mukalla yesterday in an attack claimed by Islamic State. Sources said the victims were queuing up to register when the bomb, which wounded 25 others, went off. It was the second deadly blast in 4 days to hit the city, a hub for all Al-Qaeda, before the militant group was pushed out last month in an offensive by Yemeni troops backed by a Saudi-led coalition. In a message on its online news agency Amaq, Islamic State said Sunday's attack was a martyrdom seeker who had detonated his explosive belt. Around 40 died in the attack. The growing Islamist militant threat has led to the Houthis and the Yemeni government to embark on peace talks now underway in Kuwait. For the first time ever, Dominican Republic in the Caribbean will allow inmates to vote in a presidential election. The pilot project is part of a broader reform initiated by former British prison warden and now reformer Andrew Coyle in 2003. The model system ensures that inmates are treated more humanely.
Over 1,500 prisoners from various prisons were permitted to vote. The program is, however, restricted to inmates held in pretrial detention for minor crimes and are only allowed to vote for president and vice president.
It's an unprecedented event, and I think on this occasion what the authorities have wanted is to comply with what the Constitution establishes. Many of the people found in penitentiaries still benefit from the presumption of innocence and have not lost any of their civic or political rights.
According to the NGO Freedom House, 9 out of 10 inmates in Dominican prisons have not been convicted of a crime. 61 inmates are in pretrial detention, according to the UK-based International Centre for Prison Studies. Castanos commended the Attorney General's office and the Central Electoral Council for making the project a reality.
I have wanted to be here because for me it's one of the most important events of this electoral cycle. It's a policy of inclusion, of participation of citizens, which makes us proud.
To date, 18 of the Dominican Republic's 35 prisons run on the new model system. These prisons focus on education and clean living conditions. Unlike the traditional Dominican prison system, the number of inmates who commit crimes within 3 years of being released are substantially lower. Officials said less than 5% of inmates released from the model system reoffend. In the traditional system, the rate is 50%. Melissa Gaviro, EMTV World News.
The world's biggest operational airplane, the only one of its kind, has landed in Perth, Australia. Thousands of people were there to welcome the giant Ukrainian cargo jet touchdown.
The Colossus of the Clouds, the Antonov 225 on final approach to Perth Airport.
Runway 21, clear to land.
This is the world's biggest plane, and this is its first visit to Australia. It's in Perth to deliver some massive cargo, a 116-tonne generator for a mining company. The monster plane drew a monster crowd. Some 16,000 came with cameras and phones at the ready.
Love it. It's a beast. It's fantastic.
Massive. It's well worth coming down.
Built during the Cold War era of the 1980s, the one-of-a-kind aircraft was built to carry the Russian space shuttle, the Buran. When that program ended, the plane was transformed into a cargo carrier, capable of transporting loads no other aircraft can.
It is 100% product of Ukraine. It was designed in Ukraine, it was manufactured and operated from Ukraine. So this is a piece to be proud of. Yes, this is a masterpiece.
It took the giant jet 5 days to get to Perth from Kiev. Delays in Kuala Lumpur meant it touched down in WA 2 hours late. But for those who waited, it was well worth it.
Oh, absolutely beautiful aircraft, gracious landing, absolutely loved it.
What a fitting way to welcome this giant jet to Australia. A water cannon salute to the undisputed king of the skies, a plane so big the Wright brothers could take their first flight in its cargo hold. It'll take 12 hours to offload the generator, but the plane's not leaving straight away.
We'll leave at about 5:30 in the morning on Tuesday.
Antonov Airlines tell us that after this particular experience, they're looking for more very large cargo to bring out to Australia. So we may well see this giant of the skies once again.
And Trukai Sports is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. We begin with football, and Hekari United Football Club have taken the first steps in creating a pathway for Central Provincial players to get a crack at the big league by creating the first of its kind Central Cup Challenge, featuring 12 teams from the Rigo district. Tournament organisers have said that this concept is a stepping stone to greater things for Central players.
The tournament features teams from the Rigo villages of Hula, Babaka and Kiapara and was fast-paced from the onset. 12 teams vying for top honours, with individual players also being scouted as potential NSL stars. President of the Kamali Soccer Association, Milo Kwalimu, has said he is ecstatic about the opportunities for his players, especially after the success of the Kaupa teams during last year's Besta Cup.
That's one of the initial the thought that the sponsors have made in our meeting, so I think should happen. Probably by next year the competition should be brought back to the village.
Tournament organiser Kevin Isarua, who is also part of Hekari's support staff, said the concept was only in its infancy, but that it could grow to become something bigger in the future.
And we're looking forward to another 4 days, the whole week of good football, and a good outcome like we're expecting will only be a stepping stone to host more tournaments as such. Maybe spread to other local areas, other local villages, with the main purpose to promote football in the local areas and also to expose raw young talents at the village level.
Former Hekari goalkeeper Gore Gabina, who was part of the success of Hekari United to the Club World Cup in 2010, believes that more Central players can reach the heights that he and only a handful of other players from Rigo have done before.
Yes, I'm proud of that because I was a raw talent from a Central tournament coming out to be part of the Glamour Club in Papua New Guinea, and I know that it's gonna be the same here for some raw talents to be picked up by the Glamour Club, and I'm really happy and honored to be part of this tournament.
In the day's midday match, a rampant Papaka 2 trashed a hapless Alukuni by 7-0, showcasing the potential that many of these footballers could have on the national scene. Jeremy Moggy, National, EMTV Sports.
To Rugby League, and Michael Marum has commended the PNG-LNG Kumuls for their outstanding Pacific Test performance. In an interview with MTV Today, Marum described the Kumuls' performance as one of the best in a long time.
Marum says the game plan heading into the match was to play more defensive, knowing how quick the Batties were.
Not there this evening, but there is.
He described halfback Watson Boy's performance as one of the best in the team, even though he was Marum's second choice to put on the number 7 jersey.
It was tough. I think we were looking at halfbacks before selection. So the halfback I was looking at was Ray Thompson from the Cowboys. With him ruled out. I had a meeting with him a month ago, and he said to me, "You can't play." And yeah, so. And with that in mind, I was thinking of going for Watson. Was my first pick, but you know, he played well.
He explained how David Mead was selected to be captain and commended his performance, saying he put his body on the line.
We took off and then we went straight to the hotel. We were supposed to do a recovery first before team photo, but we sat there and the NRL blokes got up and said, "Well, we need to do team photos now because we're running late." And then they asked for captain, and then because I didn't even announce the captain yet, so I just said, pull him aside and said, "Dave, I'm just gonna put you captain for this game." And he turned around to me and I could see tears in him, and said, "Okay, now you'll be captain." So when we took the team photo, he sat next to me. So then straight after, I texted chairman, told him that I was gonna name him captain, and yeah, he promised me he was gonna put in a big game for us. Yeah.
Marum says he is pushing for the Kumuls to play more international friendlies in preparation for the 2017 World Cup.
Again, we did some feedback on that week, what needs to be done probably next time around. But and now we want to play one more test match and hopefully before World Cup next year. But and it's all up to the International Rugby League Board and PNG Rugby League.
After the Kumuls win, Papua New Guinea moves up on the world rankings. Elijah Lavet, National, MTV Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. From NRL to NFL, the former San Francisco 49ers running back Jared Hayne has made a bold statement, resigning from the National Football League in the US to join the Flying Fijians on their road to Rio. Hayne released a statement on the 49ers website stating that the Fiji Rugby Sevens team had reached out to him about the opportunity for the upcoming Olympics. While the controversial code hopper switches codes yet again, there isn't, however, any guarantee of Hayne's position in the team to Rio. He will, like others, have to earn his spot while playing in the next leg of the HSBC World Rugby Sevens series. Samoa has secured their first HSBC World Rugby 7 Series title in Paris over the weekend since they won in Dubai in 2012. The Flying Fijians led in the first half 26-7, but an incredible turnaround in the second half with Samoans Tila Mealoi, Siausi Asofalau and captain Falemiga Selesele adding the icing on the cake with a match-winning try just prior to the final whistle.
Fiji dominated play in the opening 10 minutes with tries from Leone Nakarawa and Jerry Tawai putting the team 21 points ahead just minutes before half-time.
They know he gets the first try. Katonimbau goes in for Fiji.
Samoa's Belgium Tuatangaloa managed to add 5 points to the scoreboard just before half-time, but Fiji's Tawai's added try brought the half-time score to 26-7. Second half kicked off with a much more aggressive side in Samoa, with Damien McGrath's team fighting back with 2 tries to Mealoi, closing the gap to 26-17 with 4 minutes remaining.
Come on! Asafalau!
In the dying seconds of the final half, Samoa's defence wouldn't turn bar another try by Fiji, resulting in a turnaround, paving way for captain Fa'aleminga Selesele to finish off the match with a historic win.
Thank you. Time's up. Time's up! Oh yeah! Unbelievable! Samoa have done the unthinkable. They have come back from the dead.
Lorraine Genia, National EMTV Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports for today. After the break, we'll have all your weather details for the next 24 hours. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
Taking a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region, Port Moresby, Daru, Kerma, Alotau and Popondetta, thundery showers over the next 24 hours. To the Momasa region, showers in Lei, Wau and Madang, thundery showers in Wewak and Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, some showers in Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo and Rabaul, some showers in Kimbe and thundery showers in Buka. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, some showers with morning fog. And in news just in, students from the University of Papua New Guinea have closed all entry points into their premises because they do not want police to enter. A student's spokesperson told MTV News the protest was of national interest, conducted in a peaceful manner, and that there was no need to deploy any police personnel to the Waigani campus. One issue raised is the lack of response to their petitions. Meanwhile, students have not resumed classes today, saying national issues are paramount and they have to express their democratic rights for leaders to step down if they cannot follow the rule of law. This afternoon, the students met again in the Forum Square and said to open the gates tomorrow. Before we go, recapping our top stories for tonight. Former Chief Ombudsman supports calls for investigations to continue. Foreign Affairs Minister says payroll issues cause for delay. And Australia-PNG Business Forum gets underway today. And that's the news, sports and weather for today, Monday the 16th of May 2016. On behalf of the MTV News team, I'm Merabatulo. Pleasant viewing. Good night.